Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Last April, I finally made it to Lake Garda in Italy. This trip started not directly at the lake, but a few hundred kilometers earlier. We drove from France through Switzerland, which meant buying one of those Swiss highway vignettes, the little sticker you slap on your windscreen. 40 francs, not negotiable. We made a stop in Lucerne for a picnic, which, if you've never been, is an absolutely beautiful city. Turquoise lake, Alps in the background, not a bad lunch spot. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. I'd seen the photos, sure, but I think nothing quite prepares you for how big it is. Like, this is not a cute little lake. This is basically a small sea in the middle of northern Italy. Everybody talks about Lake Como or the Dolomites, and they are stunning, don't get me wrong, but they are either pricier or a bit of a mission to get to. Garda is easier to reach, easier on the wallet, and honestly just as beautiful. We were about to spend 7 days finding that out. We based ourselves in the town of Garda. Yes, the town literally named after the lake. One of the towns that actually gave the lake its name, and it turned out to be a great choice. Our resort was up on the hillside, so the lake view was in the distance rather than right outside the window. But honestly, that elevated perspective was beautiful in its own way, especially in the morning. It also had a spa, which after long days of walking was very much appreciated. As a base, Garda makes a lot of sense. It sits pretty much in the middle of the lake's eastern shore, roughly the largest town on this side. So you can go north or south without too much driving, with easy day trips to Verona, Venice, or even Milan. The harbor itself is lovely. One evening, we found a pizza place tucked in a bit inside the town, proper wood fired, really good. And as we were waiting for a table, the patron just came out and handed us 2 glasses of Prosecco. One of the first day trips we did was Sirmione, and we went by ferry. Quick tip if you are planning this. The ferry timetable at Lake Garda is genuinely confusing. It's not a simple every-hour service. Departures are irregular. Some routes have rapid boats that cost more, and if you miss one, you can be waiting a long time. The crossing from Garda to Sirmione took about 45 minutes. The ticket was 11.5 per person one way, so 23 return each. For a public ferry, that is steep. Beautiful but steep. Something to factor in, especially if you are traveling as a family. But arriving in Sirmione by water, worth it. You see the castle first, these medieval towers rising straight out of the lake. And it's one of those views where you stop talking mid-sentence. Sirmione sits on a narrow peninsula that juts into the southern end of the lake. Cars are banned inside the old town, so you walk in through the gate and suddenly you are in this ancient fortified village with water on 3 sides. The Scaligero Castle is right at the entrance, a 13th century fortress with a drawbridge over a moat that opens directly onto the lake. I've seen a lot of castles in Europe, and the combination of medieval stone and that impossible blue-green water is something else. It was very crowded. Sirmione is one of the closest points on the lake to Milan, so it gets a lot of one-day trippers. And I think it got an extra boost from the film Call Me By Your Name, part of which was shot surrounding this part of the lake. We also came across the thermal spa almost by accident. There is a little tourist train that runs down the length of the peninsula and stops right at the entrance to the spa complex.
Mange-la, elle va fondre.
Ça vaut le coup.
Oui, c'est des...
Our last stop on this side of the lake was Bardolino, and we came by car, parked up on the hill, and walked down, which gives you a lovely approach, arriving through the town toward the water. It was the tulip season, and I genuinely wasn't prepared for how beautiful that was. All along the lakeside banks, tulips absolutely everywhere, reds, yellow, deep purples. It looked almost Dutch, except with Italian mountains in the background. Very surreal, very lovely. Bardolino is one country. The DOC red made from Carvina grapes, the same variety behind Amarone, is named after this town. We did a tasting, tried the local red, and also a sparkling Moscato-based cocktail, which was unexpectedly great. Light, slightly sweet, very drinkable on a warm afternoon by the lake. The lake here was very calm and clean. We went down to the edge and put our feet in. It was still cold in April, but the water looked so inviting that we did it anyway. Bardolino is the most relaxed of the three stops on this stretch, less dramatic than Sirmione, less polished than Garda town. Just a good, honest lakeside place with great wine and a very easy atmosphere. Food was good throughout, and the prices are noticeably friendlier than France. So that's the eastern and southern side of Lake Garda, and honestly a really solid start. Basing ourselves in Garda town worked well. Central location, good spa, beautiful hill views. Sirmione is unmissable. Just go in early and sort the ferry logistics the day before. And Bardolino, especially in tulip season, is one of those quietly lovely places that doesn't ask much of you except to slow down. The next vlog is going to feel very different. We are heading north to Riva del Garda and Limone sur Garda. See you in the next one.